many youngsters come and they ask me, how do I plan my career, or how do I choose the field in which I have to choose my career? So I'll tell you 4 things that you need to know before choosing a career. So the first thing that we need is that we need a clarity of thought. So what do you mean by having a clarity of thought? So you should know perfectly what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are. You should pursue the things where you find your strength and maybe avoid those that you're not good at. Let me tell you my example. When I was pursuing my schooling, I never had the interest of doing mathematics. Mathematics was not my subject. I never liked it. I never ever wanted to do problems. But I enjoyed reading science. I enjoyed reading biology and zoology. But physics and chemistry was not the cup of my tea. My dad told me that if you take BPC, you would take a lot of time to settle. But if you go for engineering, maybe it will take less time for you to settle and you will be even more happier. You'll not have much of stress. My dad told me very clearly, but still I wanted to do BPC because I was ready to invest my time, my energy and take a lot of stress, but I didn't want to do mathematics. So I had a clarity about what my interest was. So I took BPC. When we have a clarity of thought, we can make a right decision. So you should know what your strengths are. You should know what your weaknesses are. You should know where the demand of the market is. You should make them your priority, and that is when you can step into a career to pursue a profession. The second thing is that you should use your ability to reason while making decisions. The ability to reason is extremely important. What is the ability to reason? If you ask me, sister, what is the ability to reason? So the ability to reason is nothing but common sense. What is common sense? It comes with wisdom and discernment. So common sense is the ability to make a decision with wisdom and with discernment. What is discernment? Where you will be able to distinguish between what is good and what is bad. So when you combine both of these things, that becomes common sense. I'll explain common sense with a very simple example. So now when you're going to a market to buy fruits, let's say you saw some fruits that are ripe and some fruits that are unripe, some fruits that are completely rotten and some fruits that are fresh. Now tell me, what are the fruits that you would select in order to buy for your home? You will definitely choose those fruits that are ripened and those fruits that are not rotten. So who actually taught you this? It is the basic common sense. So you use your wisdom and you distinguish between good and bad. So you take those things that are needed for you. In the same way, even in our life, while we are making decisions for our career, we should be able to reason between what is good and what is bad and what is needed for our life at that particular time. So if you take me as an example, if I want to give my example, I completed my MBBS and now I was stuck in a point where I had to choose between 2 things. One was starting a job and the other one was to prepare for my PG examination. I didn't overthink because I knew I had a clarity of thought that doing MBBS alone wouldn't help me survive in this field. So I had to do post graduation and that was my personal choice, which I made with common sense. I didn't use any professional help. I didn't take anybody's opinion, but I just did what I wanted to do with the help of my common sense. So in the same way, when we are making decisions for our career, if you want to do a competitive exam, if you want to write a competitive exam, many people overthink. Many people take too many opinions. Many people ask too many suggestions, and overthinking leads to wrong decisions, and wrong decisions, wrong conclusions, and these can affect your whole career and life. So when you want to do something, use your common sense. Make the right choice using your common sense. I do not say that you shouldn't take the opinion of others, but don't take too many opinions, because too many opinions, it says too many chefs spoil the soup. You become inconclusive at the end and you do not know what to decide for your future and you remain stagnant, doing nothing. And many people do this mistake as well. They start to procrastinate, saying that the Lord hasn't led me, the Lord hasn't shown me anything. If we read in the Bible, in 1 Samuel 21st chapter, 12th verse, we see that David, he pretended himself as if he was a madman in the presence of Achish the king. Because David knew he had to survive. He had to protect himself from this king called Achish. So he took a very wise decision using his brain, his common sense, and he made a decision that I would act as if I am mad, and I would portray myself as if I am mad, and I would make this decision to save myself. At that point, David didn't go to God and inquire of the Lord whether I should take this decision. It was his common sense, and common sense is the will of God. We should know that as well. I do not say you shouldn't pray about your career. You have to pray very well for your career. You have to pray in the presence of God. You should ask the Lord to guide your step. You should ask the Lord to order your steps. And you should go according to the guidance of God using your common sense as well. But don't use God as an excuse to procrastinate your decision. The more you procrastinate, the more you delay your decision, the more it is going to affect your life. So don't delay your decision, but take steps with common sense in order to choose your career and your life. And the third point is that when you are attempting for your competitive exams, you should remember this: you should have a limit. Why? Why should we have a limit? Because if you give endless attempts, if you say, I have a lifetime to attempt my competitive exams, that is not wise, according to my opinion. You should have a limit to the number of attempts that you will give for a competitive exam. Many youngsters are not doing this rightly, and they are completely going in the wrong path. In 2017, I took my first NEET PG examination, and my rank was very bad, but yet I qualified, and I knew that this amount of preparation is not going to serve me. So I told my dad I want to pursue a coaching for my post-graduation. In the year 2017, again, I took coaching for PG examination, and I attempted another exam on January 2018. But my marks were good, but it was not sufficient for me to get into a government college or to get a government-based seat in a private college. So I told myself, this would be the last attempt. If at all I don't get good marks, but yet I want to be in a government-based college, or if I want to get into a government-based seat in a private college, I should compromise the branch, or else I should take a branch and I should go beyond my affordability and choose a branch with a lot of money, which I couldn't do. So I made a decision. This would be my last attempt. If I get a good branch, well and good. If not, I will settle to the branch where I would be able to afford. సో నేనేం డెసిషన్ తీసుకున్నానంటే, ఒకవేళ నాకు మంచి కాలేజ్ వస్తే, మంచి బ్రాంచ్ వస్తే ఓకే, కానీ నాకు మంచి మార్క్స్ రాకపోతే, మంచి బ్రాంచ్ రాకపోతే, నాకు ఏ బ్రాంచ్ వస్తే, ఏ బ్రాంచ్ నేను అఫోర్డ్ చేయగలిగితే ఆ బ్రాంచ్లోనే నేను సెటిల్ అవుతాను. సో దిస్ వాజ్ మై డెసిషన్. ఐ విల్ టేక్ ఎనీ బ్రాంచ్, anything that I can afford, but I'll not go beyond this, and I'll not extend the number of attempts because it will waste my time. It will waste my energy. But there are people who pursue a lot of attempts. There are people who make a lot of attempts, but I was not in that category because I didn't want to waste my time. I didn't want to waste the years of my life pursuing something again and again. So I didn't make that decision. I wanted to limit the number of attempts. The maximum should be 4 and not beyond that, because you're losing your time, you're losing your energy. You could be even more productive in another field rather than wasting your entire life, your time. See, 20 to 30 years is the most productive time of your life. You should start earning somewhere around 26. If not, things can become little difficult. Okay, I'm not talking about those who are into businesses. I'm not talking about those who make exponential amounts of money in stocks and shares, but I'm talking about normal middle class people who actually survive and who struggle for their existence. For such people, we have to start earning very early on so that we can save for our future and we can make our dreams come into existence. Fourth most important thing is that you should have a plan B. I've read a quote which says you should be flexible like water, but you should be rigid like an iron. What does that mean? You should be flexible in choosing your career options, but you should be rigid in your goals. When you're pursuing something, you should be very rigid that you should definitely get that goal that you wanted to make out. But if you do not achieve that goal, if you are not able to pursue that career option, maybe you should choose another path. I'll tell you an example from the Bible. So we see in Luke chapter 5 that Peter toiled the entire night trying to catch fish. So actually, fishermen go to fish at the night times, because night is the time where the fish comes out, and that is when they cast their nets and they drag the fish. But afterwards, Jesus gets into the boat and he advises Peter against the nature of his profession, saying that you should fish now at daylight and you should cast your nets on the other side. So God gives him an option that he didn't know before, that he can fish in the morning and on the other side. So God introduces him to another plan B, and he tells him that you have to now fish in the morning, and that is on the other side. So when we have Jesus and when we have God in our boat, God takes us through options that we never know. So we should be flexible enough to receive those suggestions, take those inputs, and try another career option so that we can achieve things which we couldn't initially. So, but this is the fourth thing that you have to do. I would recommend you, before you come to this fourth point, better make a wise decision while choosing your career initially, because to restart, it would take a lot of time. And by this time, your peers and your colleagues, they will all be settled with well-established families. So while you're making decisions for your career, I would say while you're making decisions for your career, the bottom line is that involve God, because he tells you options that you never know, and he chooses for you in a way that you would never expect. Second thing is that while you're choosing your career option, use your common sense as well, but stick to your roots. And the third thing is that when you're attempting for competitive exams, make sure that you have a limit for the competitive exams. And the fourth thing is that have another plan or have a plan B along with your plan A. So I hope this has helped you all. God bless you all. Amen.